I want to share with you something that happened to me several years ago that really changed the direction of my business. And it was this. I was doing some research about, what made some women entrepreneurs more successful than others. Was there anything that they were doing differently than that other women can learn from? And by far, the most common and the overriding factor was that the women who actually succeeded in their field, in their industry as a woman entrepreneur, they actually took time to invest in their public speaking skills. There's one woman, Suzanne, I heard her speak one time, and Suzanne was a very successful entrepreneur in and of herself. But it wasn't until she actually took time to invest in her public speaking skills or communication. She said that she actually grew her business by the millions in 1 year because of that. It's become no longer just this nice to have skill set. It's actually become an asset, an essential asset that you need no matter what industry you're in. But alongside of that, this was the other thing that changed the direction of my business. Was I was listening to some interviews with some event organizers who were responsible for hiring speakers for some really influential stages. Think of Tony Robbins kind of stages, okay? And there was 3 of them there, and they were well-known event organizers in terms of the stages that they hired people for. And they began to talk about what were the greatest struggle that they had. And it was this. It was finding women speakers who had the same skill set as the male counterparts. Things have changed a little bit. There are more women speakers available, more women speakers, but there's still a lack. There's still a great need for women speakers to be influencers in different arenas. And then as I began to listen more, the questions started to come, well, what do you look for in a woman speaker? They narrowed it down to 3 things that they looked for in women speakers that kind of gave them a starting point into whether or not they're going to hire them. They said they look for women who are able to give a clear, concise message, because what they found was a lot of women speakers were kind of all over the place. They would be speaking, but they would be really scattered in their presentation. It wasn't clear, it wasn't concise. They'd be very wordy, often went overtime because they had prepared so much. So clear, concise message. The second thing they looked for was someone who knew how to own the stage, or capturing attention, audience attention, creating curiosity. It's an engaging factor to bring your audience in, but it's that energy, that confidence, and it just draws your audience in. And then the third thing is women who knew how and could and did give a clear and strong call to action. So when you look at those 3 areas, which one do you feel you need to grow in? Maybe what's the priority? What's number 1 for you? So you talk about getting booked, these 3 factors. And so why this changed the direction of my business is because, listen, all of these are learnable skills. They're all learnable skills. And I realized, wow, if that is what's holding women back, I can help. If they're willing to be coached and develop the skills, they can get prepared to be on those stages. It really excited me, and it just changed my direction from just, working with men and women. I just wanted to work with women. I want to prepare women for the stages that they wanted to get on and help them develop those skills that they needed to do that. And especially as kingdom-minded women, to be able to develop the skills so that you can influence people with kingdom values. So those are things that you need to keep in mind as you're thinking about even getting booked on stages, in being known, or attracting the right client for a booking or something like that, or even getting rebooked, rehired, or remembered, is the concise. Do you have a concise, clear message? Do you know how to make a message that's clear, concise, and compelling? And of course, there's a little bit more to that, like that I was just talking about with Renee about the opening, closing, and transitions. Those are key factors as well to having a clear, concise message. But then there's the aspect of the energy you bring, the confidence, standing in that place of knowing what you bring is of value to the people, and actually coming with a posture of serving your audience with your unique gift and showing up in your genius zone and doing that with confidence, with authority, with anointing, so that you can deliver the best of what you're called to do and to bring out the best in those who are listening. And then the third one is a call to action. One of the biggest mistakes, okay, there's a few mistakes here, but one of the biggest mistakes I find women speakers make, if they do give a call to action, first of all, most of them just avoid it. They just avoid it, neglect it. And I just want to say this, if you are neglecting this area, and I don't mean always having to have a pitch, that's not what I'm talking about, just some call to action, you are actually doing your audience a disservice. It's like you're showing them, hey, this is what's possible. You're opening up a world of potential. You're giving them some tools. And then they say, oh, well, do you have a book, or do you have something I can read more? Do you have a program? Can you point me in the direction? And if you don't give them anything to continue their learning, you're actually doing them a disservice.